Hey everyone, this is Caitlin here with BlackBoxStocks. Today we are online chatting with 7-Star Mike. 7-Star Mike has been trading for 3.5 years and has been with Team Blackbox for 2 whole years. Today he's going to be sharing how he uses the options flow module on the Blackbox platform to optimize his trading style. Mike, are you ready? We're excited to hear what you have to say.
Hey Caitlin, thank you for doing this. My name is 7-Star Mike. I am one of the moderators on Blackbox, and this is how I use the Blackbox system. There's a few things to do on this main site here. I am an options trader, so I have this options screen pulled up to begin with, and I have a main chat window over here to start out with. This is where you can find any kind of stock market information that our members are looking for, and when the alerts come in, I am posting some of the charts to go along with those alerts to give you a quick look at where we are on the chart relative to what those alerts are actually coming in. There's a trader tip that I put in there based on one of the alerts. So my main setup for Blackbox is to have the options section flowing in the middle and the main chat room over here on the right. And one of the first things I do to start the day is come over here and make sure this above ask is checked, set filters, and then this is going to limit everything that comes across my scanner to only the ones that fill above the ask in the bid-ask spread. The reason I like the above the ask trades are because it's showing a sense of urgency for someone to get into a trade. If you think about the bid-ask spread, if you're paying above the ask, that means you don't care what price you enter a position at, you just want to be in that position. So the above ask trades are showing a sense of urgency to open a position. So what I like to do today with Apple, if we pull that up, if you look at here, this is 6:30:02, and I am in California, so 6:30 is 9:30 East Coast time. So you can see as soon as the bell rings, 6:30:02, this came across our scanner today. This was above the ask for Apple. And I'm watching this real time. So as soon as the bell rings, I'm looking for this first trade that comes in above the ask, which is showing that this trader has a sense of urgency to open this Apple position, expiring 11/8, the 257.50 strike for the calls. This was a $30,000 trade. They opened 159 contracts. So what I'm looking for is this first above the ask trade that's showing a sense of urgency. And I like to follow that usually with a quick scalp. So for me today, this one was about 1 to 2 candles. It was a really quick, I think it was about 1.5 minute trade. And it was up something like 20 to 30% really quickly. So the first thing I like to do for Blackbox is hit this filter button. Come over here to above ask only, make sure that it's set. So the only thing I'm seeing on my screen as the day begins are the above ask trades that the algos are picking up. And whatever that one is, it's again just showing me a sense of urgency to get into that trade. So I typically follow that one. I do pull up the chart, and on this one, Apple is on my screen at all times anyway. It's one of the charts I continuously look at. So I didn't have to pull it up. It was right there. So when this trade came in, I was able to follow this. It's not an alert. It's just the first trade that came across the scanner. But since Apple's on my chart, I was able to follow this immediately as it came in. So that was a quick scalp for me early in the morning. One of the other things I like to do is filter it down. Since I have Apple selected up here, the only thing I'm going to see on my chart here is Apple. If we go back and get rid of above the ask, it's going to show us everything that's coming across the scanner for Apple. You can see in this column, it's limited to only the Apple trades that the scanners are picking up. So when I'm in a trade, I like to have this particular ticker set to whatever ticker I'm trading at the moment. I can watch the chart over here. I can watch the flow. And whether I'm in this particular trade or this particular trade or this one, it doesn't really matter so much for me. What I'm watching for is what's the general guidelines and consensus for Apple as far as what the big money is doing. So when I'm in a trade, I like to keep this filtered to the specific ticker that I'm trading and just get a general idea of what's going on. I can see some calls here. I can see some puts here. I can see the expirations and the strikes that are being traded. especially if I'm doing short-term trades. I can see 11.8, 11.8, 11.8. So I can kind of watch these shorter-term trades and see what's going on. If there's a particular trade that I'm in, I can click on that specific trade. And the only flow I see once I click on that is the 257.50 calls for this week's expiration. So filtering down is one of the things I do when I'm in a trade. So if I'm following this particular trade here, I can watch what the action is doing as far as the contract price. I can watch what's going on as far as entering and exiting trades. We can see above ask and below bid. That gives us an idea of who's entering and exiting these trades. So when I'm in a trade, I like to filter it down and keep an eye on what's going on with the flow, just to give me an idea of what the big money is doing around the ticker that I'm trading. Because I don't have the ability to move any kind of a ticker. So what I want to watch when I'm in a trade is what the big money is doing, because they do have the ability to move a ticker. So when I'm in a trade, I just keep this set to the particular ticker so I can keep an eye on what it's doing while I'm actually in that trade. So being in the main chat over here, if anyone calls something out while I'm in the trade, I can glance over here and catch an eye on maybe a ticker that I wasn't watching regularly. So part of BlackBox, we also have this Discord room here. And one of the things I wanted to point out about the Discord room is I'm going to jump over to Twitter really quickly from a few days ago. So this was November 1. This was Friday. Someone in the voice chat just mentioned Facebook was dropping. I got in at 12 cents and those shot to 69 cents within minutes, thanks to whoever mentioned that Facebook was dropping. And here's the graphic on it. So this was November 1, 190 put. Someone in the chat room casually mentioned, oh, hey, something's going on with Facebook. It's dropping. That was my entry at 12 cents. And the bid-ask spread when I took this graphic was 69 by 70. So that is a 475% gain. And that is literally because someone in the chat room said, oh, hey, Facebook is dropping. What's going on with Facebook? I wasn't watching Facebook at the time, so I pulled up the chart and I liked what I saw. I got in at 12 cents. Those went to 69 by 70 within minutes. And that was literally someone in our chat room that just said, oh, hey, guys, something's going on with Facebook. So one of the things I love about BlackBox is it's such a large community. There's so many people watching different tickers that I didn't have Facebook on my screen at the time. And yet someone mentioned it in the chat room and I was able to pull it up and make that monster trade. There's another, actually we can go back to, I posted this one also. This one is from our main chat. Jenny is one of our mods. This was on October 4. She said, thoughts? In this case, we were talking about SPY, 310s for November 15. Now, this was back on October 24th. We're looking at November 15th, 310s. Options Fanatic was talking about it also. He got in on it. I said, Jen, I like the idea. If we pushed all-time high and climb, those would pay nicely. Plenty of time on them, too. ERs may help. Jen said, exactly. There were 3 or 4 of us that got into these 310 SPYs. And the post on them, it's all about teamwork. Let's grow and profit together. Those were up 60%. That same day we bought them, those were up. Actually, that was the next day. They opened up 60%. And that came at the chat room here, a conversation about SPY. There were a bunch of us chatting about SPY. And someone mentioned, hey, what do you think about these 315s for November, or 310s for November 15th? So that was the chat room conversation that we had here. A few of us got in on it. We took that position, and those were up 60% the next day. As of today, those were trading at 127 this morning. So those were up a very, very, very good amount. And that came about from the main chat. So one of the great things about BlackBox is that we have so many people talking about so many tickers that whether or not you're watching something specifically, someone's going to be mentioning things at all times. So there's so many options and features that BlackBox has, but the community that we have here, that we're all helping each other out, we're all teaching each other, we're all learning from each other. The community itself is just so amazing that we can point out things we're not looking for. We can teach concepts that we don't necessarily have in the back of our mind at all times. After hours, we have a ton of support and a ton of learning and classes going on. So for those who are new to trading, there's such a welcoming community in BlackBox that it's just such an amazing group to be a part of. I've been trading for about 4 years, and I think I've been with BlackBox for 2 of those. And almost everything that I've learned about options trading came from BlackBox. So I am very appreciative of the community here. I'm very thankful to be a part of it, and I love to be able to give back when I can. And one of the things I try to do is offer some education. So here's one of the things we look for with Flow. We put this together. It's a little checklist as far as how to use the Flow. So this can be pretty confusing if you're brand new, but we take our time to make sure you understand exactly what you're looking at and exactly how you can use it to make money.
Thank you, 7-Star Mike. That was some great insight. I actually really love how you mentioned how you start out your day using BlackBoxStocks, looking at those above ask price in the flow, and just really like how you gave us, 7-Star Mike in a nutshell. So I do actually have one more question for you though, and that is, how does trading with BlackBoxStocks give you an advantage in the marketplace?
Well, so trading is hard. If you ask any trader who's tried it, they're going to tell you trading is really hard. One of the things as a retail trader that's extremely hard is that I don't have the information that these mega banks and investment companies have. I don't have the equipment. I don't have the dollar amount backing me. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the research team. So one of the things about BlackBox is it kind of fills in some of that I don't have on my own. And one of the ways is the scanner itself is telling me no one really cares if I trade 5 or 10 contracts of Apple. No one cares if I trade a random ticker 5 or 10 contracts. But if someone's trading 500 or 5,000 contracts of that, they probably know something that I don't. They probably have a research team that I don't have access to for why they're trading that much of a particular ticker that maybe we haven't heard about. So BlackBox showing me that information that those traders are basically making those trades real time and it's coming across my screen real time, that gives me a little bit of an edge because I can see what the big money is doing without being a part of their team. So I'm just a retail trader. I don't work for a company. I am trading out of my living room. I am a one-man operation. So for me to be able to see what the big money is doing and where they're putting all of this massive capital on a daily basis, it's just kind of giving me a behind-the-scenes look at if I was a part of this team, where are they allocating their capital? And since it comes in real time, as soon as they place those trades, I have the information on my screen. So BlackBox is giving me an edge just because I can see what the big money is doing just by being a one-man operation in my living room. I don't have to have a resume of Goldman Sachs, of JP Morgan. I can still see what all these big traders are doing in real time. So the edge for a retail trader is it's just giving you those big trades without having to be a part of a multi-billion-dollar team or organization to do so. So it really filters out some of the information that you want, but generally just don't have access to.
Thank you, 7-Star Mike. It was a pleasure talking with you today and learning your options flow techniques. From Team BlackBox, this is Caitlin, and that's all we have for today. Remember to click subscribe below so you can receive more exciting trading videos just like this one. You can also become a new member with us by visiting our website, www.blackboxstocks.com. As a new member, you'll receive instant access to the trading tools, alerts, and the community that 7-Star Mike mentioned today. Remember, no one trades alone at BlackBoxStocks. See you next time.